Okay, so they're out of the oven. I've done the other ones, so they're all finished off. So I'm going to just show you this one for the moment for the sanding and the smearing. So what you're going to need is a piece of black clay. You're going to want to warm it up in your hands. Now just a quick note, I put this in at Premo's recommended temperature for 45 minutes. So I'm not sure if I mentioned that before or not. So anyway, you have a piece of black clay, stick it to the edge just like that, and then just simply start smearing. And there you can see that it's tidied up the edge nicely. And just make sure to go back and smooth it off all nice. Okay, and there's, so you can see a difference between that side and that side. Then all you do is just pick up all these little bits of crumble, which you will get, roll it back into a sausage, start again on the other side and smear. And there we are, that side's just as nice. Now when you're smearing, make sure that you're putting a good amount of pressure onto the clay, because you only want to leave, as the name suggests, a smear. Any more than that and it will look like it has a very untidy border around it, and that's not what you want. So just make sure that when you do this you're pressing hard enough. And if it flakes up like that, just take another piece of your black, stick it down in the problem area and smear again, and it should clean it up just fine. And always make sure to go back over with your fingers and just smooth it over, because you don't want fingerprints or anything like that, because you're not going to be able to sand very well, because it's such a thin layer of black. So just make sure that you do enough tidying up. So you can see it flaked there again, and it also didn't smear up here. Then you can manipulate it into place a little bit. Just make sure that you've covered up all your areas, because you don't want to have to go and do this again once you've baked this, because then it will look like a black untidy border around your edge, and you don't want that. So make sure that you get it first time round. Then go and make sure that it's nice and smooth before you put it in the oven again. And we're going to put this in the oven for another half an hour at Premo's recommended temperature. So there we are, that looks much better. Check for bulges. There's a little bulge over here that I need to just smooth out. And there we are. So now that's going to go in the oven for half an hour at Premo's recommended temperature. Okay, so we've finished the sides now, and it's all nice and finished. And so now we are ready to start sanding. So I'm going to bring over my polishing papers, which is what I like to use for sanding. And these I get off of Fire Mountain Gems, and so this is the thickest grit, or the lowest grit, which is a 400. And you'll just start sanding in a circular motion across the surface of your bead. And you'll go from the lowest grit, which in my case is a 400, all the way up to your highest grit, which if you are using the polishing papers will be an 8000. So they really give you a great buff. So you'll sand the front, the sides and the back. When sanding the back, just be careful not to remove too much of the texture, but you do want that to be a little bit more shiny than it is. So I'll just continue sanding in this circular motion through all of the grits until I am done, and then I'll come and show you how to resin them. Okay, so here they are all done and dusted. They're ready for us to start resining and other things. So first what we want to do is we want to pop some Renaissance wax on them. So we just want to pop them on the back, so excludes the dirty cloth, but this is the one that I use for resin and thing. Oh, excuse me, for the Renaissance wax, because it gets a little dirty. So you'll just open up the Renaissance wax, and that's what it looks like. Take a little bit onto your cloth, close it up, and now you only want this on the back and the sides. So just dab a light amount onto the back and onto the sides. And if you have a buffing wheel, you can use that to buff this, but you can also do it by hand. So there we are, all rubbed on. Now just give it a quick buff. You only want it on the back and the sides. So there we are, it's got nice, hopefully you can see it, that's got a nice sheen to it. And it'll do the same for all the others. Okay, so now that that's done, they have a nice shiny glossy black back. There we are, I can really see it there. There we are. So they all look like that, and their sides are also quite nice and shiny. So now we're ready to resin them. So I'm going to pop those off to the side while we do the resin. And I'm going to bring over my measuring cup. And we're going to be using ice resin today. So here's what it looks like. This is part A, which is the resin. And this is part B, which is the hardener. So we're going to start with the resin, because that's the part that flows the slowest, and so it's the easiest to start with that one first. And we're going to mix 2.5 mils. So I'll just try and keep this out of the way so you can see. Okay, and you want to go slowly because you don't want to overpour. And actually, I think I'm going to go up to 5. I'll make this 5 mils. I think. Having a dilemma. Well, we'll see. If I accidentally overpour, then we'll go to 5 mils. Okay. Just checking that that's meeting up on all of the sides. And then we'll let that settle. And I'm going to bring this up so that I can see where it is. And it's just on 2.5. Okay, and I've decided I'm going to go up to 5 mils because I've got some other beads that I want to resin. And the more resin you have, the easier it is to make sure that you get an accurate measurement. So I like to generally go as high as I can, but I don't like waste resin. So I went and had a check through, and I think I can have about 5 mils hardener and 5 mils resin. So I'm going up to 5 mils here. And I'm just busy waiting to see when it gets to that point. Okay. There we are. That's the resin. Now we're going to do the hardener, which flows a lot faster, as you will see in a minute. Okay, and that one I'm going to take up to the 10 mil mark. And don't pour too much at once because you can accidentally overpour. Okay, almost there. Okay. There we go. Now I'll bring over a skewer, which is what I like to mix with. And I'll just start mixing. And in the beginning it's going to cloud up quite a bit. Once your resin is fully mixed, it will be crystal clear. So I like to mix for about 3 to 5 minutes just to make sure that I have mixed it correctly. Because even when you think you've gotten rid of all the streaks, there probably will be still some left. So you just want to make sure that you are fully mixing it. So I'll just carry on doing this for the next 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, so I finished mixing it up and I've let it rest for a few minutes. So it's gotten rid of most of the bubbles. Now excuse the horrible red colour, but this is the resining mat that we're going to be using, so I'm just going to turn this down for you. There you are. and this is what we're going to rest our beads on. So take one bead at a time, that one down, bring over our resin, take a little bit, and work in little bits at a time, because if you add too much it will run off the edges. So you just need to be careful how much you pop on. And don't break the surface tension either. Once the resin starts going over the edge, there's no stopping it. So hopefully you can see how nice and micry that is. Yeah, I'll bring this forward for you to see better. You'll see better when it's cured because it won't be on this horrible red background. There we are. That's all the resin we need for that one. So I'll put that off to the side and I'll carry on resining all of my other beads. Okay, so I finished up resining all of the beads and left them to cure for about 24 hours, and here's what they look like. So you can see that now the mica particles really shimmer and it looks really nice and shiny, and the resin gives a lovely glass dome. So that's great, and the backs look really nice as well, so they're all finished and ready to go. So I'm going to use the one that we originally made. The other two I will put on my Etsy shop as beads, but this one I'm going to show how to turn into a necklace. You're going to need 2 strands of suede, and I've chosen these colours, and I got these off of eBay if you were wondering, and so you want matching colours. Now depending on how much of each colour you use, so if you'd used less of the gold you'd want some darker, more reddish colours. If you'd used more of the golds you'd want more light colours, so you just want to make sure they all matches. And then I've trimmed these up to the right size that I want my necklace to be, which is about 16 inches, just a little bit longer than that. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we are going to grab one end, take it all the way down to the other end so that it's folded in half. Then we're going to bring it all the way down till it forms 2 loops. We're going to feed those 2 loops through our hole in our bead, and then we are going to move the strands around so that we're happy with where they lie. Then bring these bits up. It's a little fiddly. Bring them up and through the loop. And then we want to pull. There we go. And that's what it looks like. So now we've got these 2 strands. So I'll separate them. And I'm just going to show you the one side. You'll finish off the other side just like you did this side. So I'll show you this side and then I'll do the same on the other side. You're going to need a cord end, which is one of these fold over pieces, and you're going to need some chain nose pliers to just gently fold over those rims onto the cord. Yeah, and these things look very ugly, but we're going to cover them up. So don't worry if they look too ugly, just make sure that they're nice and secure, like that. Okay, and I'll do the same on the other side in a minute. Then you're going to need some sort of cone. You're also going to need a head pin. I'm just bringing that over. Snip off the head of the head pin. Make a little loop. And I'm using antique copper today as well. There we go. Open up that loop. Thread that through the loop on your cord end and close it up. Thread on the cap and that should cover it up just fine. Okay, and then if this comes through the loop, which I'm going to try and get it to do, there we are, so I'll just pull that through, and I'm going to unhook it. So if your this loop didn't come through the top of your bead cap, you could just link this through, close it up, and that would stay inside here, and then you'd make another loop, and that's what you'd attach your clasp to. But if I can pull it through the loop like that, that's how I prefer to do it, because it's just more secure and there's less areas for weak links. So you'll open up a jump ring, put on half of your clasp, thread the jump ring through the loop, close off the jump ring, and there you are. That's the one end. So I'll do the exact same on the other end now. Okay, and there we are, all done. So you can see that's all nice and neat. Both sides are the exact same side. And also, the good thing about this is that you can always interchange your pendant by just widening up this loop down here, sliding this out, and then you could thread on another pendant if you wanted to. Now I don't want to do that, of course, because I've just got this on here, and so I'm not going to take it off now. But that's just another thing that you can think about, is the fact that you can always interchange your pendants once you've bought one of these pieces, one of these necklaces. So let's say maybe you bought a set of tiger eye pendants and you liked each of them, and so you didn't know which one to put on. This is a good sort of necklace because you can just quickly interchange them as you want. So this one would look slightly different, this one would look slightly different, and so on and so on. So it's a nice necklace style because you can interchange your pendants as you wish. So that's basically it for this tutorial. I do hope that it was helpful to you, and if it was, please do let me know, as that is always helpful to me. And if you're watching this on Patreon, be sure to check all of the backlog underneath this video, as you'll be watching it on the $15 level, and so you'll be able to access all of the backlog that I've been posting over the previous months. So there should be a bunch of tutorials, colour recipes, tip tutorials, and all sorts of things down there for you to check it out. If you're watching this on Etsy, it's just this tutorial. So I do hope that it was helpful to you. If it was, please do let me know. And as always, I hope to see you in the next tutorial. Bye for now.